is going to be how to enter your answers for the quotient property. So if you remember, the other video on the answers were just the product property, the multiplication. So this is going to show you the division as well. Okay, so let me turn the camera around. Okay, and so I'm going to do the same thing. So for example, I'm going to type on this document. Okay, so these are the two that we're going to look at on how to enter those into the Google form. And so I'm going to show you the keyboard first, and then I'll go in and I'll actually type in the document. But we're going to do similar to what we did in that first video. Okay, so let me get my keyboard. Okay. So, oh my gosh, I'm having a hard time with this one. Okay, so for this, guys, I want to do a quick review of the last video. So remember, we used to get 5 to the 7th, we did that little caret or the little arrow-ish button. Okay, and then if we have a dot, then we would just use our X. Okay, so as a reminder, that little arrow button is right above the 6. So you have to push the shift button and the 6 in order to get that symbol to pop up. So the two that we are going to look at for the quotient property are ones that look like this. And like I said, if you've watched the video and done the practice, then you already know you've got some that have this fraction look. And so we have to account for that. We already know how to get the exponent, but we need to know how to do that fraction bar. And some of you may already kind of know where I'm going with this. So to get that 1 over 7 to the 3rd, okay, we are going to use that backslash button, which is right down here next to on the right-hand side of your computer where the question mark is. And so I would have to type that problem, that 1 over 7 to the 3rd, I would hit 1. And then I'm going to hit that backslash to make it look like that fraction bar. So I would hit 1, the backslash, and then 7 to the 3rd. So remember, we just typed 7. Do the shift 6 to get the little arrow up, and then the 3. Okay, so if I were to go into that document, let me show you what it looks like when you type. So to review what I went through on the keyboard, we do 1, then the little backslash to get the fraction look, hit 7 to get the little arrow shift, and 6 to get that little caret arrow thing, whatever it's really called. I don't know if that's really what it's called, guys. I'm not gonna lie to you. And then the 3. So that looks, our final answer is going to look like that when we type it in the Google form. Okay, so some of the other ones have 2 different bases. So you have one on top and one on the bottom. So now we're going to look at that. So there's how that looked when I enter into my Google form. The other one we're going to do is the 6 to the 2nd power divided by 8 to the 4th power. Or I could say that as 6 to the 2nd power over 8 to the 4th power. So I'm going to do the same way. I need to use that backslash, and I already know about using that little arrow up to get the power. So I would have to hit 6, and then I need to hit shift and that 6 button to get the little arrow up, and then the exponent was 2, so I would hit 2, and then I would need to do the backslash button to get the fraction, and then I would need to do 8 and shift 6 to get the arrow, and then 4. Okay. Now, to see what that actually looks like on the screen when you enter that into the Google form, remember, do 6, and then hit shift and the 6 button again to get that little arrow up, and then 2, and then we're going to do the backslash, 8, shift 6 to get the arrow up, and then the 4. So again, guys, it's not pretty. It's not nice. Obviously, things would be easier if we could just write it out, okay, like normal. But this is just how we're going to do it. If you have questions or anything, feel free to email me. But again, make sure if you haven't done any of the practice yet, you might want to rewatch this, even if it's just a little part, to kind of refresh your memory right before you enter in the Google form. But if you have questions, let me know.